All right, cyber traders, good afternoon and welcome on back here this Monday, August 2nd, top of the month to everybody. In fact, great to see all of us live inside the cyber group room, including Norman, John, Chuck, Felix, Tom, David, Amola, William, Bonnie, Gary, and all of our students, trial members alike. And for all of us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, welcome on back. I think someone left their speakers on here in the office. I could hear myself. It's all right, I'll tough it out. But nonetheless, though, great to see everybody. And let's get things started here by going over the TCAT trade. Now, really quickly, if you've been a member in our trading room for, let's say, longer than a month, and perhaps if you're joining us on social media as a recurring attendee, someone who watches us, regularly, if not myself, on a daily basis, let me ask you this question. What does TCAT do? What type of business, let's just say, is TCAT involved in? You don't have to know the exact A to Z on the company, but what type of business do they more so deal with? Well, what's been going on with TCAT over the last, not even month, but even like the last 3 to 4 months? Now, I love Chuck's answer, and I like Bonnie's answer too. Bonnie says no idea, and then Chuck follows up even more abrupt, saying, "I don't care." And normally, I wouldn't either, Chuck. But let's just go with it for right now. Felix, Bill, and Lewis saying it's all about the digital art, NFTs. It's to do with crypto. Now, I'll be talking about Bitcoin just at the end of this meeting, but that's not about Bitcoin here. This is about at least the stock and the sector, or at least business that this stock is in, the NFT stocks. And to start, the DLPN was one that we ended up trading and calling out from earlier this morning. So I know they ended up coming out with news today. And because of that, that's what led to my personal interest in the TCAT trade leading into the market open. Going into the market open today, I ended up prepping up, lining up, and charting about 4 or 5 stocks. And to be really blunt with you, I didn't really have the best day. I figured today wasn't going to be the most, thrilling day of them all. In fact, markets dropping off a bit, but otherwise, not much really going on, across the board. Well, I took the time to prep DLPN, and I ended up taking the time to prep the TCAT trade too. I ended up jumping in this trade early after the market opened up, right around 7:30ish, 7:35. This was probably my best trade on the morning. I ended up taking a 2 cent loss, and I got back in for a 40 cent gain. Ended up carrying it up towards just about 7:75, going into 10:30 Eastern time. From there, well, obviously dropped back, and then right now we saw this thing just break out before heading into the afternoon meeting. So really quickly, I'll just take a look at the news on TCAT here, if anything. I don't know if there's any news in relation to this company. There was news out on the Dolphin trade from this morning, right? So, there was news in relation to Dolphin looking to create a service to create large scale consumer facing NFT marketplaces for major sports and entertainment brands. So, that obviously sounds pretty interesting. So, that's what led to Dolphin popping. I don't have any news on TCAT here. And well, on top of TCAT, let's go over a couple of the other NFT type of stocks. Maybe they're moving at the same pace or same rate as the TCAT here. HOFV, not much going on there. The OEG stock, I believe this is also in relation. Not a whole lot going on there. YVR made a pop right around the same time TCAT did. It looks like YVR might be in play heading into the afternoon. It's up, just about 7.5% currently. Maybe I'll come back to this one specifically at the end, but the way TCAT's moving, obviously, we'll start things off by putting this on our main list. Beautiful trend right now. The only thing I don't like about it is just the fact that the order book is kind of light, kind of thin. So you would really need to more so follow the 50 cent levels and hold numbers for this trade. Allow me to bring up level 4, even for right now, just to show you a quick glimpse into that. I do have it up for this stock. Looks like we ended up seeing a bunch of volume getting filled right around $8, 7.90 up to 8, and it took a couple of breaks to really get this pop and run going, right? It ran through those orders earlier, then it kind of crumbled back down, and that was to be expected. But the more it kind of pops its head back up to 8 and over 8, it's always a question of what if, right? What if it keeps doing that? Well, the more often it does that, eventually you're going to get the big move that you're looking for. So it took a few stabs at it, but right here, once it really broke over 8 the next go around, right before 2:15 Eastern time, that's what led to this beautiful move up, right? Ended up running up from 8 up towards 870. You can see there's resistance building at 890 and 9. And then from there, maybe 925 or 920 ish. There seems to be some smaller, more minor resistance up top. All right. Let's see. Do I have the Dolphin trade up still? Maybe I still have that up. Oh, it's right next to it. There we go. Here's the DLPN trade for right now. It ended up making a bit of a pop over 10. I would have expected a very similar type of false breakout or at least shake. And, I didn't really trade this going into the afternoon. I was too busy making PowerPoints, but ended up making a nice move back over 10, ran up nicely. But this is what we're looking for here. With TCAT making the move that it's making, it's no guarantee. It's more of a hope than anything. But if this can make a higher low and show, strong support off of 10, and so long as that doesn't get filled and broken through, perhaps this could lead to a nice new run up, the Dolphin trade. And from the time that I last showed this chart, this thing just blew right over 9. This thing might be getting halted soon. So for right now, definitely TCAT. And with Dolphin, I'll put it on the main list. I guess we'll make the cut for right now. If we have a big list and this isn't doing much, maybe I'll give it the boot at the end. All right. But otherwise, though, what we'll do is really go from top to bottom. I was just about to say this thing just ripped right from 10, made this huge pop right now. There we go. That's not perfect timing. I mean, much sooner than later I'm getting here, but nonetheless, big pop in the Dolphin stock here. Let's go from top to bottom. Otherwise, see what else we got here. Things have been pretty lackluster outside of TCAT and outside of now the Dolphin trade. So, for anything else that we'll try and go through here, we'll see what we can get. The EVK stock, I'm kind of surprised to have seen it hold as much as it did throughout the afternoon. No surprise personally for me now to see this dump off as fast as it is. And with it dumping off as fast as it is here, no chance I'm going to put this on our watch list now. Stock ended up making a nice slingshot from earlier this morning, right around 420-ish, broke out from, made a really nice move from that point. But the thing is on this stock, and we said this before from last week on a bunch of trades, look how little volume this stock trades on a day-to-day basis, at least prior to whatever news that came out this morning. Just a few 100,000 shares on average a day here. Looks like this day was maybe 5 million where it popped and dropped. But nonetheless, for this stock to be up as much as it was, even heading into the market open, I would have expected a lot of consolidation, and it did. It led to a nice pop. And at least at that point, I was expecting a big dump off sooner than later. And, just now he ended up getting that. So we'll pass on this EVK trade for right now. Slower, steadier move here. The INFI stock ended up making a really nice pop going into the mid to late morning, right after 10:30 Eastern time, broke high of the day off of 260, 265-ish, and the rest was history from there. In fact, I ended up drawing this like bit of a pennant pattern here. It was kind of squeezing in sideways, lower highs, higher lows, and finally ended up popping, ended up making the breakout upward. I was expecting the break to be down, so caught me off guard. Ended up making the beautiful run from there, though, up towards 3. Just tried breaking over 3 a moment ago here. You know what? For right now, I'll put it on our list, put it back on our list, the INFI stock, in hopes of a higher low from right this point and a move back over 3. If we see more buying above 3, and should there be no like real major resistance right above that price, then perhaps that could be the run that you're looking for. So I'll slip this on here too. At this point, I don't think the Dolphin stock DLPN is going to be near the bottom, so to say, of this list. With this type of move up, I think it'll kind of be near the middle to top, right? And TCAT shaking around, although that broke over 9 just before we saw that. This is a bust from earlier today. The XCUR stock, it was dropping off. Even by 7 o'clock Eastern time, 8:30, it was flat. So there was not much movement on this stock leading into the open. It was cheap. It was up big and coming off of news, so we were hopeful, but just an ugly chart after. Man, that Dolphin trade is absolutely flying. It's on the way up to 11 right now. Take one more look at it. 20K iceberg on the ask, right at 11 here, and it's gone. Got another order here at 11:07. I just saw it pop in and out. This thing's fast. Is anybody in on this DLPN trade right now in this meeting? Any one of us in the cyber group room, or perhaps any one of us in social media? Any of you in the Dolphin trade currently? Felix, he is. All right, Felix, I don't want to distract you any further. I'm going to let you be on your trade. Wayne just got out. He got 24 cents off of 10, in and out quick. All right, cool. All right, well, keep it going, Felix. Hopefully, this makes a higher low from here and a push back over 11. All right, but yeah, obviously, this will not be on the bottom of said list at the end. It'll be near the top. All right, see what else we got here. The XBIO ended up making a nice new run up, broke over last week's high set from Thursday, ended up really making a nice run from that point as it topped off around 570. Ended up making a nice bounce just before here, too, and pushing up. So, man, this XBIO still has some life to it. I'll come back to this at least by the end, if not put this on our list. Oh man, that dolphin trade, that should be getting halted. The dolphin trade should be getting halted. It just broke over 11. So you know what? I'll keep going through the gainers list, then we'll come back to that trade at the very end to show you where it's at. All right, BT pushing up here again today. This looks like a really nice pattern on the daily chart. And it's not picture perfect because these highs aren't identical to the highs from earlier in the week, but this was as clean of a Fausto flag as you could find on the daily chart. The lows were squeezing up. It was holding really well underneath the highs previously from earlier last week, 946. 941 and pretty close. Ended up making the big breakout as soon as the market opened up here today. And it's still near the highs right now. It's a little choppy, so I'd like to see a nice pop sooner than later. Got a 35,000 share iceberg on the ask off 1090. Probably have something. Yep, 38,000 shares on the ask at 11. So it still has some life to it. I'll come back to this at the end, the BTBT. And I'll come back to this probably when I wrap up Bitcoin at the end of it all. All right. All right, Felix. Felix just got out really nicely. He was in from 990, and he just got out. If I'm not mistaken, he got out like right near the highs on the DLPN, right near 1140. Felix, that's like the immaculate trade so far, sir. And you know what? Even if it keeps going up, you don't want to worry about leaving any sort of said money on the table. We talked about it last week in a coaching session, and you certainly know now. You can always get back in on the trade if it gives you the chance to in just a moment. I would look for support to build off that last peak, right off of here, 1075, 1080 ish. All right. That's a hell of a trade, though, Felix. That's $1.50 profit per share on that trade, the DLPN. All right, so we keep it going. See what else we got here. The Cannon trade. This is like still near the highs, but it's so motionless right now. It's so flat. And normally, and this will be my little spoiler for at least the stocks that are related to Bitcoin. But the stocks that are related to Bitcoin mining or blockchain, those never, I don't want to say never, but those rarely, if ever, make a clean move up higher into the close if they are at the highs. This is at the highs, I'd say. It's pretty close. I would not be expecting this to break out higher into the next hour and 15 minutes. We rarely see these Bitcoin stocks do so. And normally, this is where you would want to see a stock, but history normally proves us wrong. They might be better short opportunities as a day trade, if anything. I'm sure at some point that theory will be wrong, but at least for the last year at this point, I think for the last over 365 days, we've been kind of talking about that. And I don't think we've ever had one of those. All right, so we'll keep it going, see what else we got. We got Galt, rhymes with salt, ended up making a nice pop. Got halted after the market opened up, actually. But unfortunately, this one ended up falling apart pretty quick. ACY is a known pop and drop type of stock. I know news came out on Square with buyout of a company that's listed on the Australian exchange, if I'm not mistaken. That's all I know. So AHPI looked nice from earlier. Ended up making a nice pop going into the late morning, right after 11:15, 11:30 Eastern time. Ended up topping off right around 1075, 1080, the high of the day there. And well, obviously now not doing a whole lot, or if it's doing anything, it's dumping off, but not doing much that we would want it to do. VXRT, same thing. And, it's sad to say because this stock is now becoming more of a pop and drop type of stock than something we could actually sink our teeth into as a runner. So, what I mean by that is back Thursday of last week, news came out on this stock. I forgot the news at the time, so I apologize for that, but ended up running up in pre market. It was dumping off leading into the market open. So, you know, not surprised that this ended up, kind of holding a lower high later on. But damn, this ended up even breaking much lower later on. It was up 7% Thursday morning. It closed the day like down 5%. So history unfortunately repeated itself today for the most part. Ended up popping right out the gate, falling right back down. I guess it made a bounce around 760-ish, but volume was poor at that time. We weren't really watching the trade at that point, and it's like flat now. So, maybe tomorrow we'll check back in on this trade. We'll see. All right, so we keep it going. Express is up 11 plus percent. Kind of flat right now, though. Made a lower high just before. I know Lewis could call that out earlier. All right, so we'll hop over to the loser side for the meantime here, folks. See if there's anything on that side of the field looking better. SPY is at the low of the day, or not at the lows. It's kind of filling in sideways still. It seems like a lower high being formed right now, and wouldn't shock me if it ends up pulling back towards the afternoon. Got the XPO trade. This thing looks like it got crushed. I don't know the news on this stock. It looks like it ended up making a squeeze after the market opened up and dropped right back down, right? Now, again, we're not normally going to trade a stock this expensive, but I show this to you because, well, I want to do this here really quickly because I found this pretty interesting. It's my Jeopardy music. All right, so this XPO stock ended up popping and dropping after the market opened up, right? Next stock here, IMVT, was down as much leading into the market open. Maybe XPO was down more, I guess, but either way, both were down off of bad news, and this was certainly down big leading into the market open. They made the same pattern. This ended up squeezing up beginning in pre-market, but after the market opened, it topped off at a big volume level. This one topped off at 9. This one topped off a little bit above 86, but ended up pulling right back down, both of them, and both of them are easy to borrow. They're not hard to borrow on my platform trade station here. So, I was watching this IMVT as a short opportunity, ended up topping off right from 9 perfectly and dropped down. That made for a great 50 to 60 cent trade at least and left some money on the table. This ended up doing the same exact move, right? For the most part. So, just that's a pattern that you can kind of follow going forward. Not to assume that type of top off every single time, but for a stock that's down 30, 40, 50 plus percent, and certainly the more the more expensive the stock could be, perhaps the bigger of a move it can make in terms of dollars, right? So IMVT made for a nice squeeze up, but dropped off after. All right, so we keep it going. TGTX, kind of a familiar name. I've seen the stock pop and drop off of good news and bad news over the years. It was more within our price range back a year ago, and right now it's just really flat. Ended up making for a nice drop off, I guess, earlier this morning. FLDM, kind of a familiar name. Not a whole lot really going on there, albeit at the lows. That's pretty much all I got, folks. I mean, no real other familiar names on the loser's side, and that's fine. I mean, we got a decent list to begin. Got a bunch of earnings going into this week. I'll update you folks more throughout the week here, beginning tomorrow. And for all of us inside the trading room, I'll update you in particular, at least during the afternoon broadcast coming up here. All right. All right, so I'm going to recap Bitcoin in just a moment, folks. But in the meantime, let me know if there's anything up, down, left, right, more than 5%, anything that I didn't have a chance to look at just yet. Got from Mitch on YouTube, and I'm probably a few minutes late to this call out myself. He chatted earlier about the RKT pop. Yeah, nice push up earlier from 1770 up to, was that 19 almost? 1865. I don't know if there's news out on it or not. Let me just take a look. I'd be more interested in it if there was. If there's no news on it, then I don't really care, I guess, because it pulled back pretty sharp. Volume already died off on it. Looks like RKT shares trading higher after the company announced it is launching into the solar energy industry. Like Rocket Mortgages? Is that the same company? Is it, or is this Rocket Companies? I always get those confused. Is this Rocket Mortgages? I'm getting into the solar energy industry. I don't know what the hell that's about, but led to a bit of a pop. A stock that we are familiar with, at least, and a stock also that has great liquidity on the order book. And we're not really, too big of a list so far. So you know what? I'll add it for right now. Hopefully this can make a nice higher low and a push back up later on. If not, then we'll see. I guess we'll follow something else then at that point. All right, so folks, let me know if there's anything else that you see, and then if not, then I'll just jump to Bitcoin quick, and then we'll wrap up. I got one. I got one here really quick. Not a RKT, but SCKT. Nah, that's garbage. I just got the ping from Benzinga Pro on this right now. Like all these high of the day alerts on SCKT. Thought it looked good. This doesn't mean it's going to be for a great trade. Looks like this stock did make a huge move, either in after hours trading or pre-market on this morning from late July. So perhaps for that reason, it could be somewhat interesting, but I don't know. It's really bad volume right now. Very thin order book. Oh yeah, that's right. We did say we would go back to a couple stocks. I just got the chat now from RJF on YouTube asking about the BTBT trade. So let me do XBIO first. There were two stocks I said I was going to come back to. XBIO. And from the time I last looked at it, it just kind of broke down. So I'm going to pass on that for right now. And BTBT has only pushed up. So this one definitely will be promoted to the main list here at this point. If I put BTBT up, I reckon I'll look at Riot and I'll look at Mara here quick. I'm more reluctant on putting those on the main list. I feel like BTBT, I don't know what the short interest is on it, but that one's definitely been a lot more volatile for its price. You could even see the can trade dumping off from when we last looked at it. So it seems like all the other blockchain or Bitcoin mining affiliated stocks are just kind of stagnant. This one's at the highs right now and pushing up still. So yeah, definitely good call. Put this on our main list. Watch out for the resistance right near the high of the day. It looks like it popped up and dropped back down, and there's a couple of big iceberg orders here at 1118, 1120, even 1125, like a big stack actually. So be careful with that. Be careful of that there. All right, so to wrap it up, Bitcoin here, and we'll close it out. So, really quickly, this is the last time that we ended up checking on Bitcoin, this vertical line right off of July 30th, back from Friday of last week. So, a little bit of a pop, and from that time, bit of a drop off after. Not a whole lot of like real significant news came out over the weekend. I know that there's some infrastructure bill that could be possibly related to Bitcoin. I don't know, just nothing really too significant came out for me to really be interested in, good or bad, either way. It's just to say that from the last time that we were looking at Bitcoin, and really not even the last time, the last week and a half, I've been telling you and warning you of a pullback. I knew that it was going to happen, just given the pop up. We were not out of the doghouse just yet, and that was even back from here. So I was expecting a pullback back down towards the EMAs here at this point. Didn't get it. So, if it ends up dropping back down a little bit closer towards the 500 here on the hourly chart, then I'll try and add more. I ended up adding more right around here, and I told you folks of that like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago at the time. Dropped off a little bit lower, but then I got the slingshot. Pretty happy about that. So the thing I want to show you, though, and I didn't have this up from the last time I showed you the chart, is this trend line here. You can see from the highs from like 64,000 or 65,000, the all-time high. And I had this line a little bit better before this meeting started, but there we go. Getting pretty close, if not exactly hitting the trend line I had here. So I didn't show this from the last time, but it looks like it ended up just topping off right there, perfectly off the highs, and starting to pull back. All right, so I just found that good food for thought. So perhaps over the next few days, if it drops off a little bit more, I'll add, and I'll let you folks know as soon as I do, or at least into the next meeting. All right. All right, so that's going to wrap it up from me, folks. If there's anything else that I failed to acknowledge or comment on here quickly, just type it in the chat board. Give us an extra 20, 30 seconds here. All right. Jesse says Riot. Lynette says Lizzie. The Riot trade we talked about already. The Lizzie stock, nothing's going on there. Ugh, it's like bad volume. APT at 1110 just busted an iceberg from a couple minutes ago from Chuck. Yeah, it still seems volatile. I mean, that still seems like a tradable stock. I don't think I'm going to put it on our main list, but if that's a stock that you've performed very, very well on over the last week, I'm sure it's worth putting on your personal watch list. The IMTE has some activity to it. I saw one of us call that out just before Norman, up 15% right now. It seems so choppy. Like, I'll put it on our list because it is moving up pretty nicely for right now, and I got to respect the afternoon move here at this time of the day. But man, just very choppy up and down. So, hopefully this makes for a cleaner breakout opportunity later on. If not a cleaner breakout opportunity, then perhaps a nice slingshot opportunity off at 450. All right. All right, folks. So with that in mind, I know that Rich will jump on the mic himself coming up at 3 o'clock here. I'll be back on myself right around 3:30, taking us going into the market close. For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, as always, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. And if you're a new attendee, well, welcome on aboard. So if you have any specific trading questions you would like to ask myself, what I'll do here is post my email right in the chat board. It'll be on the stream, josh@ctutrading.com. Again, I host this afternoon broadcast every weekday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So let me know if you have any specific questions. Just send over a quick question right over to my email address. I'll be more than happy to talk to you on the side. All right, aside from that, though, for all of us live inside the trading room, give me a quick second. I'll post and tweet the picks. And again, I'll be back on coming up in just a bit. Take care.